And sisters, we've all turned up the radio to hear Brother Jimmy Lakey, from coast to coast and shore to shore. Now raise your voice. Oh, let us all Jimmy Lakey, get out of bed. Jimmy Lakey, raise your voice. Jimmy Lakey, hey, can't live without it with Jimmy Lakey. Jimmy Lakey.
Oh, I'm there somewhere. Oh, there I am. We have a new feature in the old studio this morning, and that is a multi-aspect ratio. I don't know, something producer Chad calls it. It's really fancy, but it basically means on whichever device you're watching, you may get a different kind of angle of the show, just because it's going to be orientated to fit your screen better. And all that means, there's just different little buttons here in the studio that I push, and I hit the wrong one. So it'll be good to have all of you here on the program this morning. It is a Wednesday edition of the show. Good morning and happy Wednesday to all of you. Hump day, halfway till Friday, and pleasured, pleased, and thrilled I am. Scott says hump day from Wyoming. Good morning, Wyoming. I saw Arkansas check in there. If you're new to the program, you know the routine. You don't know the routine, we'll tell you what the routine is. All you got to do on this beautiful day the Lord has made is go to we are numerous Facebook feeds out there streaming live this morning. We're also Oklahoma City. Hello, OKC. We see you out there. Check in at Facebook, make a comment, hit send. It pops into the studio right there, right below the feed Rumble does the same thing. If you're on the YouTube, one of our, I'm surprised we get their hearts right in Silicon Valley with President Trump. So anyway, give us a shout out. Let us know where you're at. And we always love to hear from the flyover country, Wyoming, Arkansas, Oklahoma City. And if you're one of those big city guys, maybe you're in Chicago, maybe you're in San Francisco, maybe you're in the Pacific Northwest, we have some folks up there as well. Let us know. And if you've never checked in, let us give us a check-in right now, just so we can, we like to know that. We enjoy knowing that indeed. All right, it's Wednesday, the 12th day of December. I want to right up front lead with a programming note. There will be no show the next 2 days. This is the final show of this week. Tomorrow and Friday, there will be no program. So if you want to hear this dulcet voice tomorrow, you need to go download this on the podcast, subscribe to it, and you can go back and listen to today's show. Friday, good Lord willing, we will resume on Monday, but producer Chad is lying on a nude beach all day today, and he's going to be sunburned and unable to produce the show tomorrow. So no, it's not really that. That's not, I just made that part up. Tomorrow, it's my birthday. I got plans. Is the point is I got plans. And also producer Chad's on vacation, and no need for me to interfere with his vacationing on the beach. I have interfered enough. He's in Cabo San Lucas, and he is literally on the beach. And yeah, we've done enough showing this week while he's on vacation. So we're going to let take the time off. And I don't care if I take the time off for my birthday or not. It doesn't matter to me. But yeah, he's on vacation. Listen, let the guy have a break. All right. He has to put up with myself every morning for the last year. So he's let the guy have a little holiday. Okay. Stop being a biddy, Delilah. Yeah, she's over here calling lazy. He had to work on vacation. That's mean, Delilah. How awful of you. All right, no show tomorrow, Thursday. All right, headline news. Senate voted yesterday 60-40 to headline. They voted 60-40 to reopen the government with the compromise. And it is interesting to watch the Democrats in the fighting with each other. It shows that they're just trying to keep them. They're just trying to keep things together there and put up a facade that they got it all together. The only thing they're united on is the wing of the party that's bat crap crazy, and the other wing that maybe not bat crap crazy. They are right now just trying to pretend that it's not a divided party. It is a divided party. And what I think you're going to have to see, some of these, quote, moderate Democrats, if they're going to play in Peoria and not be defined by those people that are the most vocal and loud and radical in the party, at some point there's going to have to be some type of condemnation and refutal of that, which may cost them parts of the party. Now, you need to remember that there have been great examples recently of more moderate and old school Democrats fleeing the Democrat Party. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. this time last year had just become, I don't even know if he is a Republican. He is I guess he's still a registered Democrat, but he joined the Trump administration knowing that his party was too crazy. Tulsi Gabbard, again, fled the Democrat Party, and she had been a lifelong Democrat. I think she has changed her registration, at least to independent. So there is a recent history of people that stood up against the craziness of the Democrat Party, felt that they were no longer welcome in the Democrat Party. They got kicked to the curb. And so that's going to be interesting. And I think some people that maybe are considering themselves to be more reasonable, the moment that they pop their little head up and go against Bernie Sanders and the whack jobs, then that sounds like a band, doesn't it? Bernie Sanders and the whack jobs. The moment they do, they may find themselves outside of the party, just like Tulsi Gabbard did, and just like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. did. But will the moderate Democrats please stand up? And I don't give these Democrats that voted for this, that joined Fetterman, who had been voting for the opening of the government, I don't give them a lot of credit as being moderate or reasonable. The fact is they kept the thing shut down for weeks on weeks. They didn't have the courage to go against Chuck Schumer. This was no act of courage. It was in a sense, but if they wanted to be courageous and do less harm, they could have had this act of courage earlier. I think all of them had got a good talking to that said, listen, we got to get through this election. We've got to get the crazies motivated to go out and vote for us in New Jersey and New York and Virginia. So everybody just toe the line, and then all of a sudden they decided to not toe the line anymore. So it's not like these are brave soldiers who stepped up and voted just suddenly their conscience got to them. They could have voted on this exact compromise many weeks ago, and they chose not to. So let's not give them too much credit for this positive vote of reopening the government. The House has been summoned back to Washington, D.C. Many of them have started arriving yesterday. They've started from their districts, or many have probably arrived this morning, and there will be a vote today. It is expected to pass pass the House, go to the president's desk, and that means the government will reopen, and back pay for most will be, I guess, almost immediately filled out there, and people will get back to living their lives again. So anyway, it's going to be interesting to kind of watch how this plays out. The government will be open until January. Will we face this same kind of shutdown in January? I don't know. We'll have to see how it plays out. I don't think we will, but we'll find out exactly. It's really going to be up to the House to get this budget, get us back on regular rules when it comes to budgeting in the House of Representatives. That's what they need to get back to. And none of this crisis to crisis, continuing resolution to continuing resolution. I hope, Mike Johnson, one day will be able to get us back on some regular rules of how we do appropriations in this country, because it is really, really dysfunctional right now. I did want to point back to a story I told you yesterday, that one of the things that has happened is Obamacare. I think people have not thought about it, and they haven't really reflected on how much of a problem Obamacare is. These supplements, or this spending, all circled around Obamacare. And I told you the story yesterday, and I want to repeat it again today, because I think as we talk about this shutdown, what was it? What happened? Did the Democrats gain anything? I don't think they gained anything. I think they are more divided now because of the reopening, and these rogue Democrats in the Senate decided to join the Republicans and vote for opening the government. But there is a story that I think that is important, and I mentioned this yesterday, kind of like when your kids got shut down from school in the COVID, and you were listening over their ear to what the teacher was saying. You're like, they're teaching lunacy in my kid's classroom. And parents woke up to what had been happening in the secrecy of the classroom, and they paid attention and started attending school board meetings. Well, there is a story, and I mentioned it yesterday. I need to post it out on all the social media sites, and it's from justthenews.com, and it's written by Stephen Richards. The Obamacare secret at the heart of the shutdown is that insurers made billions at taxpayer expenses. And we talked about this at length yesterday, but I want to remind you, the 42-day federal government shutdown was forced by Democrats, and it thrust into the spotlight the look at Obamacare. And Obamacare had been lurking around for over a decade. It's just kind of, that's what we got. We got the Obamacare. And insurance industry executives are increasingly, they are liberal donors. And the insurance industry has seen its earnings soar with the injection of taxpayer-funded subsidies that have propped up Obamacare's health care program from the very beginning of the thing. The nation's largest health insurance companies have seen good business since Obamacare was passed. Remember, the Democrats out there, we got to get these subsidies out there. It's all about affordability. Well, the only people that are really benefiting from the passage of Obamacare are the health insurance companies. This is no small part, according to Just the News, government subsidies to the insurance industry, which government estimates have totaled in 2023 alone. In 2023 alone, $1.8 trillion of subsidies and handouts to the health insurance industries. That is 1 year alone, $1.8 trillion. Those subsidies greatly expanded the Biden administration during COVID-19 pandemic as an emergency measure, and they keep increasing them and increasing them. And that is the subsidy that the Democrats have been fighting for. So they called it an Obamacare subsidy. Who were they subsidizing? They were subsidizing the health insurance companies to keep them in the program. So that's a lot of money, and that's what has been forced into the spotlight, much like your teachers and the school board were forced in the spotlight with COVID. And so I think that's the positive that comes out of this government shutdown, is we have the opportunity to have the information come out in which we find out that the health insurance industry has really made bank on Obamacare, while most Americans looking back going, I don't think the healthcare is any better, and maybe it's worse, and I wish we could go back to the pre-Obamacare days. So Obamacare is the problem. It is what has caused this shutdown, and if you find that healthcare is unaffordable, it is because of Obamacare. Remember when the Democrats called the Inflation Reduction Act, and you find out it was just a bunch of green new energy bills that went to the green industry and had nothing to do with lowering the cost of living or inflation? Well, what did they call Obamacare? They called it the Affordable Care Act. Anytime in Washington, D.C., they name a bill, you can almost expect that as a smoke and mirrors routine to deceive you. And healthcare has not gotten more affordable because of the Affordable Care Act. And I have to tell you, inflation did not come down because of the Inflation Reduction Act. Their names for these bills are oftentimes they are just simply smoke and mirrors shenanigans to make you think one thing while they do the other thing. It's a little rope-a-dope by giving it a strange name like that. All right, good morning to all of you. Glad to have you here on the show. A lot of you checking in from around the country. Don't forget, by the end of the day, if you go to the podcast platform, this will become a podcast here in just a bit. It's a live stream right now across America, but thousands of earballs from watching the live stream to downloading the podcast later in the day will hear this show, be a part of this show. We appreciate all of you. So whether you're on the Spotify, or whether you're on the, the iHeart Media, remember that group? I've heard of them before. Whether you're the iHeart team, whether you're Spotify, or maybe you're on the YouTube or the Rumble or the many Facebook feeds, the X feeds out there, we welcome you however you're listening to the show, whether you're watching it live or one of the thousands of earballs throughout the day that listen to it. We appreciate all of you being a part of the show. Lakey Unleashed indeed. All right, we got a great lineup here on the program. Don't forget, if you're new to the show, you keep those comments coming in the comment section of the show, and that is right there on the Facebook page, on the Rumble page, on the Twitter page. I think it's all of them will pop back into the studio. I think X pops back in as well. A lot of folks on X watching this morning, so good morning to all of you. So make a comment, producer Chad. We'll find out what makes it on the show and which one makes it on the show, and which one goes on the screen, and which one he just laughs at and deletes. That's what he does. That's what producer Chad does. All right, let me welcome in our first guest of the morning. He's been with us before. He's the author of a book called Who's Eating Your Pie? Essential Financial Advice That Will Transform Your Life. I bring Eric on the program because we all like to pick on old Nancy Pelosi. And Nancy Pelosi, if you know, has entered Congress, and now she's about to exit Congress and not run for re-election, retirement. And she has made bank, and it's been pretty well documented that she has made a lot of money in stock trading. As a matter of fact, she has outperformed the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ, I think, since her time in Congress. She's a miraculous trader. A lot of us call that insider trading. And I want to bring Eric Weir in, who's written a book called Who's Eating Your Pie? Essential Financial Advice That Will Transform Your Life, and have him talk about, is it possible to really trade stocks like Nancy Pelosi? Eric, welcome back to the show, sir. Oh, I can't hear you, Eric. Let me see if I can unmute you. You're on mute there. There you go. Oh, you're on mute. You have to unmute.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay. Hey,
is it
glad
possible?
to be here, and thanks for having me back. Yeah, absolutely. Trade like Nancy Pelosi. Yeah, there's a program, there's an app that goes pretty much how to trade like Nancy Pelosi. She's been excellent. I think it's like 16,000% return. It's huge over her time in office, but it's just it's remarkable.
It is a lot of money that she has made. Let's talk about Congress and the
Sure.
stock market. And people hear of insider trading. When you hear insider trading, what is Nancy doing? What does that really mean? A lot of folks say, oh, she must know company secrets. I mean, how does that work? How do people get to become a prolific inside trader? And it's usually illegal, but I guess in Congress, it's not.
Yeah, she hasn't broken the laws as they are. She stayed within the laws. There's been no laws broken. But what she's done is she has advantage that most people don't. So let's say that a company is going to make an announcement, and they speak to Congress. Hey, we'd like to award Boeing with a massive contract, and then she has knowledge that Boeing's getting a contract for $500 billion, $200 billion, whatever the contract is. She'll have knowledge of that before anyone else does. And then so she could legally buy Boeing in her own account as a member of Congress and have that benefit. Now, if you and I were to hear that, or we were executives at Boeing, and we knew that the government was going to give the contract, and we bought stock in advance of that, then we would go to jail because that'd be deemed insider trading, or at least you'd have some consequences.
Yeah. Eric Weir's my guest if you're listening in the podcast version of the show. So an author of a book called Who's Eating Your Pie? Essential Financial, my screen, Essential Financial Advice That Will Transform Your Life. All right, Eric, we keep hearing President Trump say we're entering the golden age of America. Some people in the administration say we're in the golden age of America. Give me your perspective as far as the markets, the economy. Are we entering the golden age of America?
I think we absolutely are. If you think about it, for AI, I think just about anyone in the world, I mean, a year ago, 2 years ago, there might be divergent opinions, but now it's like AI is real. AI is here. It's changing things. It's going to displace a certain number of like 10% of jobs. But it's also going to create amazing opportunities, amazing prosperity, higher profits, and drive inflation down. So it's here. And then at the same time, with the tariffs and talking, how many hundreds of billions of dollars of foreign investments going to come to the U.S. to create jobs. So I think we are in for a period of golden years where we should have outsized growth and lower inflation.
I want to talk about the tariffs. A lot of the focus recently on President Trump has been his foreign policy. I would call it success, ending wars and peace deals,
Sure.
and jet setting around the world, shaking hands with leaders, and a lot of leaders coming into the White House, the Oval Office, etc. But we haven't had, other than the tariff discussion, we haven't had a lot of talk about domestic policy or economic policy here. There's some people that say the sky is falling with these tariffs. These tariffs are going to end the economy as we know it. I'm taking that you have a different view on that.
I do. I mean, the economy's huge, and you've got to take a long-term perspective. So there's always what I like to call headline risk. I mean, news or reaction. You know, some event happens and people overreact. But if you look at the last 30 years, the U.S. has had tariffs on Chinese goods between 1% and 3%. At the same time, the Chinese have tariffed U.S. goods between 5% and 30%. So just you ask the average person, do you want to buy their goods and tariff them 1 to 3, and they buy our goods, tariff ours 5 to 30? They would say, no, that's a bad deal. But the only way to rectify that it has not been diplomacy. It's been, hey, I'm going to charge you 50%. Well, that seems like a lot. And then you go to then you end up being forced to negotiate and find something balanced. But if you've read the book, The Art of the Deal, what Trump is doing is right out of his playbook. It shouldn't surprise anybody. It's making a bold stance and then negotiating towards something in the middle.
The voice of Eric Weir. We'll talk about his book here in just a moment. But Eric, what other parts of the economy are you paying attention to see the golden age of America? You're complimentary of the tariffs. I think we're told that next year some of the tax cuts are going to go into effect. Americans will feel that. What else are you paying attention to?
I'm looking at housing because there's still, America's growing. I mean, we're creating jobs where people are moving here from around the world, and we still have a housing shortage. At the same time, affordability has been challenging for a lot of people in their first home. So I'm looking for interest rates to go down and for there to be more new home sales. I'm also looking for jobs to be created substantially in different areas of manufacturing in the U.S. And I'm also looking for jobs in technology that'll be surrounding AI, and probably more than anything, the power demand that we're about to experience with AI's consumption of energy is going to be a bullish market for all forms of energy, whether it's oil, it's natural gas, wind, solar, or coal, or even nuclear. I think we're going to see massive growth in energy.
Could this be a state-by-state golden age? I mean, I live in Colorado, and we have statewide policies that are detrimental to affordability. You have California that has a lot of policies that are that you would say are not making California affordable again. Could it be that some states of the near 50 states in America have a more golden age than others?
Oh, without a question. If you look at the move that even this aside, there's been a move to they call the Sunshine Belt, big time. Whether it's people to Arizona or people coming to Florida, South Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, North Carolina. I mean, those states have been the largest benefactors of the growth. And if you just go to Google and just say, hey, Google, where are people moving? It'll rate the cities. And most of the fastest growing cities are in the Southeast currently.
And it seems as if you have an influx of people, that inflation, supply and demand would kick off inflation in those areas, but those areas seem to be thriving and people keep moving there. Why is that not the case, that an influx of people in Colorado from when I moved here, from California, destroyed the state? Why is that seemingly not happening? So what you're seeing in Georgia and Florida, other places, is if you have a lot of supply and you also are able to develop, there aren't as many lands conserved. If you look at Colorado, there's a lot of conservation, and people tend to be in pockets. So if 1,000 people move to one town and want to live in the same area, then prices go higher.
a lot of the South has room for expansion that can go in the more of the suburban markets. So in that, there's still inflation on pricing, but it's not as severe as it would be in other areas.
I know Colorado has a lot of laws that make it very prohibitive to build what would be called entry-level housing, and that's detrimental as well. Regulations, I'm guessing, in places like Colorado and California are problematic as well. Eric Weir is my guest. Eric, let's dive into the topic of your book, Who's Eating Your Pie? I don't think you're talking about Thanksgiving here. We're talking about those of us who go to work day by day, and we're like, why are those people getting richer and I'm not? Who's eating my piece of the pie? Talk about the book, Who's Eating Your Pie?
Yeah, so the title "Who's Eating Your Pie" it came from my son was 7 or 8 years old, quite young, and I was writing a tax check, and he goes, "Daddy, what are taxes?" I'm like, how do I communicate to a young boy what taxes are? His mom was giving him a pie with some ice cream on top. And I took my fork and took a massive bite and ate it. And his face was just like, he couldn't believe that happened. And I said, that's taxation. And he goes, what? So I went in with a second bite and he blocked me. And I said, that's planning. So I think for most people, we just don't take time to plan. You know, we spend more time picking out what iPhone we want to have or what movie do we want to go to, or just looking at social media. They do think about our financial future. And most of their most limiting factor, from my experience, has been our lies we believe about ourselves. You're not enough. You'll never succeed. You're just like this other relative. And we cap our potential almost always internally, and by those we choose to associate with.
And so as you talk about planning and what people don't do, people say, well, I got a 401k at work, and sometimes they do matching funds, sometimes they don't do.
Sure.
I've got a little account that I do some trading, or a little savings account down at the bank. I'm planning, Eric. Talk about what it means that when you see most the average American, the average citizen, not the Trumps out there, but the average person out there, what area of planning are they overlooking?
They're overlooking. I think one area we're all overlooking is we're all getting older. So long-term care. How do you plan for that in the future? I think that's a big area to overlooking. The second is you're overlooking daily consumption and also assets that you have or things you have in your house you're not using. For example, I've been a self-storage investor for 30 years, meaning I recognize that people keep stuff and don't throw it away. So you can profit by that by providing storage. The average American consumes 10 cubic feet of storage outside of their house. So what that's telling you is, and they're paying, $80, $100, $200 a month for that. If they sold those contents, they get more than $1,000 and put that in the S&P 500, they're better off. But instead, it'll cost them $1,000 a year to keep things. So, and in the storage business, there's something called Storage Wars on a TV show. But some of the things people pay to store have really no intrinsic value. They may have emotional value, but they don't have any intrinsic value. So just simple stuff like that are the things that I could do, or could I pick up a side hustle where I could save the majority of what I earn? And it makes a big difference over time.
I'm thinking of a lot of folks get to be a certain age and they start, I've got a birthday tomorrow, by the way, and you start going, well, maybe I should have planned earlier. Maybe I should have done more. I've been dealing with my mom getting older and memory issues and memory care, etc., flying back and dealing with her out of state. And the more I kind of take over her stuff, I'm like, oh, I wish she would have planned better in this area, planned better in that area. And it makes you reflect on yourself, but then you reflect on yourself and go, well, shoot, it's kind of too late. I should have started that when I was 20 or 30. Is it too late?
It's just never too late. I mean, I have examples of people that have reframed. I call it reframing. Knowing what you now know, would you do differently? And if you had unlimited access to resources, people, technology, and intellect, what would you do? And get the clarity and set goals to get there. And I have an example in my book of a person who went from bankruptcy to becoming a millionaire in 90 days by identifying value in a site that was up for sale at a low price. And he was able to find people to front money and for a deposit. And then he was able to sell the copper and the brick and the wood out of that building and make himself a millionaire. And he never would have done that without the setback. Now, that's an extreme example, but there are examples of that with everything from driving an Uber to anything. There's always opportunity, and it's never too late to start. And that's really just another excuse that people have. So just wherever you are, it's not too late. Your best days can be ahead of you.
The name of the book is called Who's Eating Your Pie? Essential Financial Advice That Will Transform Our Life. And Eric, it sounds as if it's got some practical instruction, but it really has an emphasis on motivation. Am I getting the theme of the book right?
You are. And it's really, my first chapter is permission to dream, because most of us don't give ourselves permission to dream because we don't want the experience of being disappointed. And in fact, learning to give yourself permission to dream, learning that there is no success without setback, and the joy is the journey, it are great fundamental tools to help you to move ahead daily.
You are an investor. Your background, kind of give everybody your background. You were partnered in the development of Topgolf locations, 5 in the U.S., and upcoming locations in Europe. Kind of talk about your background. And obviously, you kind of told the inspiration of the title, but your background and why you decided to write this book.
Yeah, I wrote the book during COVID because I was just seeing people were depressed, they were detached, they're giving up hope. The first words from the World Health Organization is up to 20% of the global population would die during COVID. Remember that? It was incredible. And in fact, none of that came true. But people just looked inward and they got scared, and they were motivated by fear. And so I wrote the book by saying, your best days are ahead of you, and take kind of where you are and how to make plans for the future. And whether you've been through a horrible divorce or a bankruptcy or a setback, there is a brighter future. And I've seen people do amazing things in short periods of time by following simple tools, time-tested principles that just continue to work.
Yeah. One other part of your background I think is fascinating, and it brings a question. You're the principal of WCM Global Wealth. You're a wealth advisory firm. You serve clients from some of the biggest multi-platinum and Grammy-winning recording artists, celebrities, sports icons, clothing designers. Some of the top Forbes billionaires use your wealth advisory firm. And then you've worked in Hollywood. You've been an executive producer for films like Unbroken, The Race, Run the Race, etc. So you've brushed with all these the lifestyles of the rich and famous, if you will, these people. And sometimes we out on Main Street look at them and say, man, they don't have any financial worries. They got it all dialed in. And I think it's probably interesting to find out how all of us are like the rest of us, even if you drive a fancier car, live in a bigger house.
Yeah. There's just different problems. I've worked with a well-known designer, entertainer, musician who had big contracts, and then you could say the wrong thing and you could lose them, or you could end up having a brand failure, or could end up just having personal issues, family issues, marital issues, cash constraints, contract disputes, patent infringements. It's just always something. And I will tell you that with wealth comes opportunity, it comes access, but also comes trouble. So there's always problems that follow. Just you have more to take care of, more to be responsible for, and more to overlook. So no matter where you are in life, there's probably somebody who would trade with you within a mile of your house, no questions asked.
Yeah.
So just be grateful for what you can be grateful for, and then just be optimistic about the future and making change.
I was listening. I've been in the music industry worked in Nashville, around Nashville for a while, and I never forget. I was listening to a podcast recently of an artist I know that he decided to make ends meet. He made a lot of publishing money. That's where the money's at in music right now, is publishing. But he was, as a side hustle, still picking up Uber shifts as of just last year.
Yeah.
And he talked the story about how he got recognized by somebody. He said, "Are you?" And he said, "Yeah, I am." And he said, "At first I was embarrassed." Then I'm like, "Why am I embarrassed? I'm doing this because I want to. I got a family to take care of, and I'm waiting for the next publishing check to come in." I one time went through a drive-through in Nashville of a Starbucks, and I looked up, and it was a guy that we had been paying that was in one of the touring bands that I was managing, and he was making good money, but he's working at Starbucks. There's no shame in that. But on stage, it looks like they got their crap together. Hey, they're like the rest of us.
They're just like everybody else. And then they have children, and children have issues, or the spouse has issues, or in-laws. I mean, life's a contact sport. And one of the greatest things is just, you can't control what happens to you. You can control how you respond. And I think that's the most important thing. And just choose to have a bright outlook. I mean, every day is a blessing. And if you can start from a point of gratitude, then a lot of things get a lot easier. But at the same time, no matter what you're facing, no matter what anxiety or what pain, the first step you take towards solving it relieves about 80% of the pressure. It's it's not taking decision. It's the moaning and groaning and worrying about things that cause the most damage. Once you start taking action, your stress goes down like 80%.
Eric Weir, Eric with a K, Weir, W-E-I-R. Look it up, just called Who's Eating Your Pie. Website on the screen, ericweir.com. The book is available Amazon, anywhere great books are sold. And Eric, you do have a website and an online presence. Where do people go for that, and what will they find there?
If they go to ericweir.com, they'll find a link of how to reach me for speaking or engagement. They also have a link to my book, and also I'm publishing periodic updates by email so that they can sign up and subscribe.
Stacy Miller Pratt jumps in on the feed up there, and I see her. She pops in. I want to get this guy's book. Well, Stacy, go get this guy's book. ericweir.com has a link, and also Amazon. Eric, appreciate your time, sir. Thanks for being on the program.
It's my pleasure entirely, and thank you.
Thank you, Eric. We appreciate you. Eric Weir, ericweir.com. Who's Eating My Pie? And it's not just some tactical and practical advice. It's also some inspirational advice as well. So Who's Eating Your Pie? Essential financial advice that will transform your life. You know, I was talking to a friend about this a couple of weeks ago around my fire pit. Matter of fact, he and I are going to hang out tonight at the fire pit and probably pick up on this conversation that as your parents get older, you kind of think, I've got all my ducks in a row and I've done much better planning. And then you see the blind spots as I've had to kind of assume a lot of responsibilities with my mom's material and content and portfolio, all of her life. I've had to kind of take that over recently. I haven't shared much of that on the show, but that's why I've been traveling a lot. But I start to realize I thought I planned it, then I'm like, oh, there's a blind spot. I didn't see it. And I've had that thought a couple of times going, man, I should have thought of that one a while back, and I didn't. So anyway, it's a good book. Who's Eating Your Pie? I've read the Cliff Note version of it. Got to get the real version of it. Who's Eating Your Pie? Cliff Notes meaning I've read a summary and some a press kit, but that's all I got. I got to get the book. Who's Eating Your Pie? Essential financial advice that will transform your life. All right, good to have all of you here on the program. I have not introduced our question of the day, and I would like to do that now, if I may, and I may because it's Lakey Unleashed, and I do what I want here on the program. I do what I want. You ready for this? We've talked about Christmas. When is it too early to decorate for Christmas? And I looked out the window last night of the front of my house, and I looked down the street, and someone was glowing the Christmas lights up. And I said, what the heck are you doing the Christmas lights? I told you I've got a good friend. His house is fully decorated for Christmas, lights on the house, the whole thing. And they go all out for Christmas. This is like a Storytel decorator fancy Christmas. I mean, it's crazy. And a lot of people complain about skipping the Thanksgiving. And maybe you're a person that skips the Thanksgiving, or it's all just one big happy season. To me, it's distinct. I've got the Halloweens and I got the Thanksgiving, and then I shift gears to Christmas. I don't like merging them all together. Some people out there, I know some of you do merge them all together. So those of you that are purists like me, that like to reflect on Thanksgiving, but the world is pulling us towards Christmas, I'd like to ask you, how do you maintain your Thanksgiving spirit? How do you get your Thanksgiving spirit going when everybody wants to point you towards the Christmas spirit? Nothing wrong with the Christmas spirit, but the message of Thanksgiving is so powerful. The very first Thanksgiving and the declaration of there should be a day of thanks in America by Lincoln. All the things about Thanksgiving, I think it's a very powerful holiday, and it's a very powerful principle. And I get really nervous that we forget about the gratitude, the attitude. Eric just mentioned that. And I think we do need a season of Thanksgiving, at the very least a day of Thanksgiving, where it's not just a feast, but we approach life with a thankful and grateful heart. And so I don't like this whole pull together into one big holiday season. Thanksgiving meets Christmas. It's kind of like if you grow up in the Denver area, and I've been here a long time, I've seen the area from Colorado Springs to Denver kind of grow closer together. And I've seen the area, what used to be about 104th, 120th was farmland all the way to almost Fort Collins. It's now almost one big population center. It grows together. I don't like seeing that when it comes to Thanksgiving and Christmas. So how do you get into the Thanksgiving mood? How do you get your Thanksgiving spirit up? I know some people, maybe it's music. There's not a lot of Thanksgiving music. So how do you do it? What do you do to block out at least a little bit of the Christmas so that you have that Thanksgiving spirit, or is that important to anybody except me? I have a headline here, movies that get you into Thanksgiving spirit. Maybe it's watching a movie that gets you into Thanksgiving spirit, that gets you in that attitude. I don't know what it is, but what do you do to get your Thanksgiving mood going on? I'd like to get your input here. Everybody comment. Do you consciously do anything to kind of keep your Thanksgiving spirit up? How do you do that? Let me get your thoughts. All right, the headline here is movies that get you into Thanksgiving spirit. I never thought of that. You've heard of movies that get you into Christmas spirit. Everybody has their Christmas movie that they have to watch, and I get that, but here's some other Thanksgiving movies that are out there. 1925, there was a movie called The Gold Rush. If you're an old movie buff, you might want to go to 1925 and look up The Gold Rush as a movie that has been declared to get you into Thanksgiving movie, the spirit. However, I have to tell you, The Gold Rush in 1925 is a silent picture. It's a silent movie, and maybe that's it. Maybe the silence in the movie gets you in the Thanksgiving spirit. It is a Charlie Chaplin comedy as well, for those of you who want to know. And anyone, now here's the... number one on the list was Addams Family Values. That came out in 1993. And anybody wondering what an Addams Family movie may have to do with the Thanksgiving spirit, evidently there's something called Wednesday's Revolt in there. Wednesday, a character, and that's a Thanksgiving picture of it. Other than that, in 1987, there was a movie that some people say they watch it to remember Thanksgiving, and it's called Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. 1947, we think of it as a Christmas movie, but there's a Thanksgiving portion of The Miracle on 34th Street, especially the original, 1947. The Charlie Brown flick, you got to watch that one, 1973, a Charlie Brown Thanksgiving. 1986, a movie came out called She's Gotta Have It. The 2002 version of Spider-Man, there's like 2002 versions of Spider-Man movies, but that's evidently a good one to get you in the Christmas spirit. Anybody remember the romantic comedy rom-com You've Got Mail? Well, 1998, they say that's on the list as getting you into Thanksgiving spirit. 1992, a movie came out, The Scent of a Woman, and then 95 was Home for the Holidays, then back to the Charlie Chaplin. Anyway, how do you stay in? Oh, there, somebody's already put it up there. At least already put Planes, Trains, and Automobile. I just think it's important. I don't like the Christmas and the Thanksgiving season growing into one big thing. I kind of like separating them out, and my decorations for Christmas will not go up until mid-December because my son's at college. When he gets home, we will decorate the house accordingly when he gets home from there. I don't like it. I'm sorry. I judge you. If you've already got your Christmas lights up, I think you're missing it. If you've already decorated your house, I think you're missing it because I just think there's a different attitude of Thanksgiving. I think you should approach it differently. I don't like those two holidays growing together. And if you're like me, how is it that you keep them from growing together, and do you separate? Or am I just being an old-fashioned guy and I want to have them separate? Thanksgiving is Thanksgiving, and then we move to Christmas, and I don't need year-round or 4 months of Christmas. I don't need that. Thank you very much. All right. Let us know how you stay in the Thanksgiving mood. Love to hear you. Going to go to my next guest here in just a moment. And if I may, but let me remind you, we're waiting now. The House of Representatives will be voting this morning sometime, and to see whether they can confirm exactly and duplicate what the Senate did. The Senate passed this new continuing resolution 60-40 yesterday, bypassing the filibuster, and now the House is returning yesterday and this morning for a vote, and they should be having a vote here in the next hour or so. We will keep you posted on that. I will post up the story from justthenews.com exposing the Obamacare problem. This whole thing has been about Obamacare, and I want to talk about that thoroughly, and I'll post up that on all the social media feeds that you can get it. It's from justthenews.com. Also coming up, I want to talk about the Turning Point USA event that happened in Berkeley. The left goes bat crap crazy there. There's a January the 6th defendant who has rejected a presidential pardon and clemency. He says, no, I'm fighting this thing in the Department of Justice. And that brings us to a longer discussion about January the 6th and the truth that starts to come out ever so slowly on that. All right, let me remind you, and then I want to bring in my guest about Sherry Cree Homes with Sherry.com. Sherry's a great partner with the show, been with us almost from the very beginning of this streamcast, broadcast, and podcast. We do all three at one time. Let me tell you, it's the Christmas season, and you're like, I don't want to think about selling my home. It's the Thanksgiving season. Listen, that's fine. I mean, there is a window of opportunity. If you're buying right now, selling right now, there's people that need to buy a house, and it could be good for you. But listen, even if you're thinking of January, February, March, April, now is the time to have that strategy session with Sherry because there's different nuances and kind of what you're trying to accomplish. A lot of folks, you think the spring season starts in April, May, June. No, a lot of folks, the early buyers and early sellers are jumping in. It's kind of almost picture it right after the Super Bowl. that's when people are starting to jump into the real estate market. So if you know that now's not the time, but you think sometime in 2026 is the time that you need to make a real estate decision, whether you're going to buy or sell, or you get the idea, just how to navigate that situation. Maybe you need the timing to thread the needle. Listen, talk to Sherry. Have a strategy session with Sherry. Homeswithsherry.com, homeswithsherry.com. Reach out to her if you can, and we would appreciate you doing that and having that strategy session. Anywhere the I-25 corridor, I mentioned all those metro areas have grown together. That's right, Fort Collins, Colorado Springs, if she's not that she feels more comfortable. She also has a free referral service, but definitely that I-25 corridor from Boulder to Broomfield, from Denver to Daytona, from Longmont to Loveland. You get the idea. It's all that metro area. She'd love to help you out there. Windsor to Wellington. Don't fear. Reach out. Aurora, don't forget you. We want to make sure you don't live next to Tren de Aragua in Aurora. So all of these great cities, and she can help you navigate the real estate market. She's top of the top, best of the best, I think. And you need to reach out to her. Homeswithsherry.com, homeswithsherry.com. All right, my next guest is Michael Pack. He directs director and the producer of The Last 600 Meters. Mr. Pack is the president of Manifold Productions and Palladium Pictures. The Last 600 Meters won the highest honors at the GI Film Festival. And yesterday was Veterans Day. The day before that was the 250th anniversary of our U.S. Marine Corps. And Michael Pack joins us today. It's on the stage. He is. Michael, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on the show.
Veterans Day, an important day, 250th day of the Marine Corps. And now we kind of put it behind us. And I wanted to have you on today so that we just remember the emphasis that it's not just a day, it is just always remembering what has been sacrificed and the battles that have been fought for us. And you have a documentary called The Last 600 Meters that is a great way for us to just remember, not just on Veterans Day, but the experiences that other people have gone through. Talk about the documentary.
Absolutely. I personally think you should add it to the list of movies to get you in the Thanksgiving spirit as well, because surely we need to give thanks for our veterans for all the wars, including the war in Iraq. So our film is called The Last 600 Meters because a Special Forces sniper says, I don't make foreign policy, I deliver the last 600 meters of it, meaning what he could see through a sniper scope. And that's our thrust in this film, to look at the ground truth, to look at how these battles looked to the people who fought them. So we tell the story of the two biggest battles that America has fought since Vietnam, the first and second Battle of Fallujah, and in the middle, the Battle of Najaf in Iraq in 2004. And we shot the interviews in 2007 with the guys while they were still close to the age they were in the battle, and they talk about what happened. And I think the right way to honor veterans is to look at what they did in battle. There's a lot of focus on PTSD and their struggles coming home and all legitimate topics. But I think people, they want to be remembered by their heroism and valor in battle. And we should at least know what happened in these battles, as we do with sort of, say, Gettysburg or Iwo Jima. These are just as important.
Let me ask you, the Iraq-Afghanistan conflicts tortured our country for 20 plus years. And sometimes I hear about, go back to the Iraq war. First, I'm like, oh gosh, is this going to be a political thing? Or we have fatigue about that era. We were kept in war way too long. Too many people died, in my opinion. And do Americans maybe have fatigue and not want to look back at that era of our history?
It could be. I mean, we finished a version of this film in 2008, submitted it to PBS, and it took 17 years for them to finally program it. I think we had more fatigue in the beginning than we do now. I actually think this is a time that we can look back. We tried, even though I have my own opinions about the Iraq war, clearly, I didn't put them in the film. I just let the young men and women, one woman really, all the rest men and mainly Marines, look right at camera and tell their story without narration or commentary and without my own opinions and without discussing whether it was a good or bad war. I think that a lot of those veterans, our feelings about them, in a way like the Vietnam veterans, were clouded by our feelings about the war. You know, many people, as you were saying earlier, think it was a mistake and too many people died there and it was a waste of American effort. But whatever you think about the politics, still, you have to look at the heroism of the young men and women who fought there. And we tell those stories in the context of these battles. And I think now, maybe because it's 21 years since these battles, people can look back and not necessarily see them clouded by their views of the war.
Again, you're listening to The Voice. If you are listening to the program later on the podcast, or maybe you're watching on the streamcast, thousands of earballs will hear and or see the show throughout the course of the day. We appreciate all of you. Michael Pack, he's a producer and director of The Last 600 Meters, and it's a documentary that you can find on PBS. We'll tell you how to when it's airing, how you access it, and how you can see it. It's called The Last 600 Meters. General Mad Dog Mattis, we might remember him from the first Trump administration, he said it reveals the infantry's world as it has seldom been seen by those who have not experienced it. This film is uncaptured by politics or ideology, reveals the most bruising ethical environment on earth and the character of the young men that our nation sends in harm's way in its infantry. That's quite high praise from Mad Dog Mattis.
It's very high praise. And he was the sort of commander of the first Battle of Fallujah, so he should know. It's extremely high praise. And we've gotten that response from lots of Marines, Marine generals, but also ordinary Marines. We had a showing in Washington recently with a lot of the veterans that were in the film coming there, and a lot of them were, deeply moved. And I myself am still deeply moved by what happened there. And as General Mattis implies, we need to understand what it's like to be in the infantry, to be fighting these wars. If we're going to send them to fight again in Venezuela or wherever, we need to understand what they're going to be fighting for. And you see similar kind of warfare in Gaza and in Ukraine, so let's understand it. It's even though we don't talk about politics, you can see the influence on the ground of political shifts and changes.
The name of the documentary is called The Last 600 Meters. I grew up with my grandfather having fought and been in World War II. He was never in the arena of battle, but he was stationed in World War II. Fortunately, didn't have to go to the front lines at all, but he was in World War II. And you kind of watch that WW2 generation. We saw them as old people. So when you watch the movie and the portrayal of young, you're like, it's a disconnect. This past Sunday, I was at a Veterans Day cigar event celebrating veterans, and some all Marines said, "Hey, take our photo. We want to send it off to some guy in Pendleton." And I took it, and it's a bunch of old guys, old gray-haired guys, big bellies now. They're sitting there holding a beer. And then you start thinking, well, when they were serving, it was in Iraq, it was Afghanistan, it was after September 11th, and they were young, fresh-eyed, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22-year-olds then. And I think that's what's fascinating is sometimes we see veterans, we celebrate veterans, and we see them in their current aging state, and we don't recognize the innocence and the youthfulness they took into battle.
That's a very good point. I mean, that's why we're happy we conducted the interviews 3 years after the battle when these people were still young. I mean, the corporals, sergeants, they were in their late teens during the battle. So when we interviewed them, they're their early 20s. I mean, now when I saw them at this reunion, they're middle-aged men, as you say, more gray hair, more paunchy, more bald, like all of us. But you can see them in the battle. I mean, at one point, PBS said to me, "You must have used central casting to get people this attractive and articulate." But I did not. I mean, I didn't have that power. And they are attractive, articulate young men and women. There's one woman who's a Special Forces Air Force pilot or radio operator. And I think it's important to remember that. But one of the striking things about the film is we're asking these people, often right out of high school, to make decisions. As they're clearing the Fallujah, the second battle of Fallujah, knocking down doors, they smashing a door, they've got to decide whether people in there are civilians that they have to help or insurgents that they have to kill or be killed by. And it's hard to make those decisions when you're 18, 19, 20 years old. I mean, they're very articulate about them. They talk about it really well. We show the footage of them, say, breaking into houses, and they talk about that moment. So you feel like you're there. And you feel the difficulty of these very young people making life or death decisions.
Again, the voice of Michael Pack. I'll tell you how to watch The Last 600 Meters here in just a moment. You're a documentary filmmaker. Some people may be familiar with your recent film, which I thought was fantastic. Took my son to the theater to see it. Created Equal, Clarence Thomas, in his own words, a 2-hour documentary that hit back in 2020. I thought it was fantastic. PBS did show that as well. How is it that you pick a topic for a documentary? You go from Clarence Thomas in his own words, and then you go to The Last 600 Meters. As the filmmaker, what catches your attention, and which one do you proceed to make a film about?
That is a good question. By the way, both the Clarence Thomas film and The Last 600 Meters are available on Amazon, so your listeners, viewers can get them today, both of them. And all of our other films are on our websites, manifoldproductions.com and palladiumpictures.com. Well, we pursue a bunch of films. I have to find a subject that I find moves me deeply at an emotional level as well as an intellectual level. I have to feel that my film has something to say that other similar films do not. The Clarence Thomas film, a clear example. All the coverage of Clarence Thomas from the left have been trashing Clarence Thomas. There was no chance to hear what he thought about things. So I wanted to give him voice to do that. And as you know, as Clarence Thomas's own words, he too looks right to camera and tells his story his way. And I thought that was really missing. One of the things we think is, we are here, right of center, more conservative filmmakers. We pick different stories than our many, many talented friends on the left. For instance, there is a lot of films about Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and many of them very hagiographic, which is, the right of any filmmaker to make. But how about films that represent the other side of judicial debates? So it's important to get both sides. And I like to think I make these films without bias, but I think a bias perhaps affects my choice of story. So we want to bring more right of center filmmakers up to this level where they can be producing for PBS. And we have an incubator program that some of your listeners and viewers might be interested in, where we fund short films by mid-career filmmakers to up their game. And they can go to the Palladium Pictures website and click on incubator and apply. So it's important for more of these kind of films to be out there.
I would tell anybody, if you haven't seen that Clarence Thomas, it came out in 2020, so we're 5 years past it, but you got to see it. And he says it's on Amazon, available for now. So look it up, Created Equal. As a matter of fact, you owe it to yourself to see that. If you've admired or had questions about Clarence Thomas, you owe it to yourself to see that. It's called Created Equal. The film we're talking about is called The Last 600 Meters. You might have seen it on PBS, and it's a great film, a great topic. And Michael, if somebody wants to watch The Last 600 Meters, is Amazon the best way to do that now?
It is. I think it'll be streaming on other platforms eventually, but it's on Amazon right now. I think actually, depending on where your listeners and viewers are, PBS tends to rerun these things this week, but it's only $3 on Amazon. So I consider that a bargain. So I think and it's maybe that's the easiest thing to do, even though I hate to be there promoting Amazon only. Still, it's easier. It's easier for viewers.
I told producer Chad before the show, I said, we're going to do this topic about movies that might get you in the Thanksgiving spirit. And I said, but I'm not a movie guy, and so I don't really know all these movies. I've heard them, but I don't remember them if I've seen them. So I'm going to take your advice, and The Last 600 Meters, I'm going to watch sometime this week, maybe tonight, and I'm going to get in the Thanksgiving mood because you said it gives us a great reason to be thankful.
Absolutely. Watch it with your family. Watch it with friends who are veterans or not. I think it does. We really have to be grateful to the people who put their lives on the line for us.
The Last 600 Meters. Michael Pack, I appreciate you. Palladiumpictures.com is your website. People can find it there. But again, just look up The Last 600 Meters of the Clarence Thomas movie. I'd recommend both of them, indeed. Michael, thanks very much. I appreciate you, and congratulations on another great documentary. Palladiumpictures.com, Palladiumpictures.com. Thousands of earballs will hear this show and or see this show. Some of you watching it live on dozens of little platforms that we're out there streaming on. Some of you will listen to it later in the day and in the afternoon or the evening as kind of an evening wrap up in the podcast version of the show. However it is you listen to the show, I hope that you will go out and buy some of these books, watch some of these documentaries, because we work hard to get some great guests on here for you. And a lot of times it's just giving you movies and even entertainment that you normally wouldn't find. And again, I highly recommend that Clarence Thomas. My son was 20. He was like 10th grade, 9th grade. I said, no, we're going to the movies. And he always gets to pick the movies. Usually they were action figure and Marvel comic movies or something like that. There's so many Spider-Man movies. I can't even keep track of Spider-Man. Anyway, I've seen them all. But I said, no, I'm picking the movie today. We went and saw the Clarence Thomas film, and that was great back in 2020. And this one's going to be great. The Last 600 Meters, I will look that up this week. Programming note, there's no show tomorrow. no show Friday. So we're going to take 2 days off, 4-day weekend. Producer Chad is going to be laying on the beach and enjoying himself. I will be doing some traveling myself, and we're just going to reconvene on Monday. And appreciate Producer Chad getting out of bed on vacation days the first 3 days of the week, even though I said we can take the whole week off. He's, I can do the show. Everybody else is going to be sleeping. He's up. And so appreciate him doing that. But yeah, let the guy have a little holiday, and I'm going to do some traveling as well. So no show Thursday or Friday. We will be back here on Monday morning. 2 weeks from today. 2 weeks from today will be the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, and I will be airborne. I will be not doing a show that day because I will be en route to Africa in just 2 weeks. And remember the old Smokey and the Bandit movie? There's a song, "We got a long ways to go and a short time to get there." We're got a long ways to go in a short time to get there. I'll be in Rwanda in 2 weeks. And if you don't know the story of Rwanda, look it up, the website, riverspromise.org, riverspromise.com. You see the name there right behind me. That's the story. It's a charity I started. And I'm going to be 2 weeks from today. I will be airborne flying to Rwanda. And when I go there, part of their objective is buying and shopping to get ready for Christmas. We have a couple of hundred children that we're blessed, a few hundred children that we're blessed to take care of every month and every day, 200 plus in our school, grades that we don't have. We send them off to another school, and we're blessed and really, I think, gifted by God the opportunity to take care of these children. These are children that would not have access to education, clothing, shoes, nutrition, health. A lot of them honestly would not be alive today if it weren't for us in this very rural and backwoods and desperate part of the poverty. This is the worst poverty you can possibly imagine. And so we're blessed to have started Legacy Christian Academy. And I know I won't be here Thursday or Friday, but if you people say, "Happy birthday, Jimmy, happy this," that's great. If you'd like to give a birthday present, it's not about me, go to the website and make a donation to Rivers Promise. I'm going to take the money that comes in the next couple of weeks, and 2 weeks from today, I will be traveling, and I'm going to personally oversee the delivering of those funds. And so I've given you a lot of options. It's $25, a big drive every year, shoes. $25 buys a child a pair of shoes. And producer Chad's been there with me. There's kids that you're like, "Oh, he has shoes on." Then they lift up the bottom. The bottom of the shoe has worn out, but the shoes are such a commodity, they still keep the top. There's no sole of the shoe. And they just got the top of their feet because it's a commodity. They were proud to have had them, but they wore them out or found them used or whatever. Listen, $25. We give hundreds of pairs of shoes away at Christmas. We buy them locally, support the local economy. It's about $25 a person and $25 a child. That's a big Christmas gift. We also throw a big party. The kids get to hear, it's a Christian school, but they get to hear the story of Christmas and the birth of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. But we help these kids year round. A one-time gift of $65, or some people do it every month, that sends a kid to school, that pays for their shoes. I mean, that really sponsors them and gets them the education. We believe that education is the ladder that a child can use to move from the pit of extreme poverty. And without education, we can throw some meals around and some shoes around, but if they don't have education, they're never going to break this cycle of poverty. And that's what we're about. We're not building them dependence. We want them to be independent. And some of these children need a little bit of help right now while we educate them so they can make a better life for themselves. We have kids in trade school. We have dozens of young men who have gone to trade schools to become welders. We have dozens of girls that become seamstresses and hair. One of the girls I sponsored for 10 years, 12 years, she just finished hairstyling school there in Africa, and she's started her own business. We have one young lady that it's paid for already. Her sponsors completed the payments, but she got a little behind, but she's still going to nursing school. And she's going to be a nurse. She graduated valedictorian. I mean, she's one of our stellar students, and she's actually learning to become a nurse right now. So we're changing people's lives, and we're doing for the long term. So we don't want them to have a long-term dependence on us. We want them to find independence of themselves. We also want them to know what we stand for at Legacy Christian Academy. So listen, 2 weeks from today, I'm going to be flying. And I don't want to sit here and be like a televangelist every week, but every day I'm going to give you an opportunity to remind you that this is my life's work, Rivers Promise, and I could use your help. I'd like to have your help. But $25, if you could start there, that is something that would be very beneficial because we need to buy as many pairs of shoes as possible. And so if you could buy one pair of shoes for a child, go to riverspromise.com, make it $25. You can write shoes in the comments, or we'll figure it out. We'll know exactly what it is. It's not like we're a crazy big organization that we can't figure this out. But if you could do 2 pairs of shoes, maybe you want to do 5 pairs of shoes, maybe do 4 and make it an even $100. I'm asking you that you could help. This is, you kind of start your year into giving. And this is for I know Christmas, you're like, Jimmy, you're not supposed to think about Christmas because we have Thanksgiving. Well, be thankful for how God has blessed you and thankful that you can give back to children that don't have. And, so people say, well, what about kids in America? Give to kids in America as well. But remember, Jesus said, go into all the world and preach the gospel. Didn't say stay in your border. He said, go to all the world. And so we cannot have a myopic approach to who we help and show kindness to. There's a verse in the Bible that says true religion is you take care of the widows and the orphans. And so, I know Christmas is a long ways away, but we got to buy the Christmas gift and we would use your help now. And I appreciate it. Happy early birthday, Jimmy. Very kind of you. RJ, thank you very much. Birthday is tomorrow. And I'm not asking you to do this in honor of my birthday, but please feel free. Maybe say happy birthday, Jay. I don't care. Whatever motivates you to do it. 2 weeks from today, I'm going to be flying to Africa and I've got to buy a lot of shoes, and you can help us do that. Got to take care of a lot of kids, a lot of hunger, a lot of pain, a lot of poverty, and that's what we're doing together. So partner with us in the next 2 weeks, and whatever you give, I will deliver. We'll do some of the shows from Rwanda. I'll be doing some live updates and some recorded updates there. You'll get to see our work if you haven't, and we'd love to have you a part of it. Riverspromise.org, riverspromise.com will work also. Make a donation, $25 as a pair of shoes. 8 pairs of shoes is $200. You can do the math. You went to school, right? Well, you might have gone to public school, so that could be bad. But anyway, help us out, riverspromise.com, riverspromise.org. 2 weeks from today, I'm going to be on an airplane, and I'd like to have you with me in spirit through your donations and help us do that. So help us out. We appreciate it. Make a donation today. Make it tomorrow. Make one a day. I don't care. Give up a cup of coffee every day to where you can get at least a pair of shoes in there. Whatever it takes, riverspromise.org or riverspromise.com. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. And if you give on my birthday, I'll take it as a birthday present and receive it with that spirit and say, thank God to help the kids. Help the kids. I don't need anything for my birthday, but help the kids. That's what I need. Although cigars are always nice for the birthday. I like cigars. My buddy Patrick gave me a very nice cigar that I'm either going to smoke tonight or tomorrow. It's in my humidor at the house waiting, and it's ready to go. So that's going to be the tonight or tomorrow. But anyway, make a donation, riverspromise.com, riverspromise.org. Ladies and gentlemen, look, we moved the mic around and everything. We got to rearrange the studio a little bit, so I'm a little discombobulated. But it's time for the meme roulette section of the show. We go around the world and we steal memes, and here we do it. Round and round the globe we go, where we steal the memes from no one knows. Kids are starving. People are going to die. The Republicans must end the government shutdown. How dare the Democrats end the government shutdown? Senate Democrats who voted the shutdown are traitors. That's true. It's all the Republicans have to reopen the government. Shame on the Democrats for reopening the government. These people are bat crap crazy, my friend. Bat crap crazy. Round and round the globe we go, where we steal the memes from no one knows. Red Shirt Wednesday, by the way. Banks now requiring your grandkids to co-sign your 50-year mortgage. Heard about that 50-year mortgage? I swear to goodness, Dave Ramsey probably... I hope he's still with us. 50-year mortgage. Careful there, kids. Careful. Round and round the globe we go, where we steal the memes from no one knows. I used to wonder why my parents couldn't grasp technology, but now anytime I see something new, I'm not learning that. Yeah, I've been there, done that. I ain't learning that crap. I resisted the subscription to Apple Music about a year or so ago. My son's like, and I'm like, I hate it. I want my CDs. I want to touch them. And now I have Apple Music, and I think it's fantastic. It's great. But I wasn't going to learn it. I resisted. Round and around the globe we go, where we steal the memes from no one knows. We need to bring back the Black Friday where people were in full WWE mode at Walmart over a Paula Deen pod at 7 a.m. Society was thriving. The battles over the Cabbage Patch dolls. Oh, we need to bring that back. That was always a great part of the Black Friday newscasting, and now we don't get that. Round and around the globe we go, where we steal the memes from no one knows. There's 2 kinds of people. Damn, I need to fill up. Or, I know my car, it's fine. We can go another 20 miles. Yeah. Which one are you? I'm the guy that's usually like, I need to fill up right now. Probably need to get gas. Round and around the globe we go, where we steal the memes from no one knows. Whoever's praying for me, just stop because you're saying the wrong stuff. That's kind of funny. I don't know whose prayer this answered, but it's the wrong crap. That's a bad day, isn't it? Round and around the globe we go. The doctrine and theology of that is way off. So don't. That was a joke. Here we go. This came from a viewer, Jim, sent this last evening. Donald, you ain't seen nasty yet, says Elizabeth Warren. And there's Donald saying, oh, please, Jesus, no nudes. Ain't that right? I'll agree with that in prayer any day. Round around the globe we go. Where we steal the memes from, no one knows. There it is, all the way from China. Long Dennis, there's no more stealing of intellectual property, Lakey. We're done for the day. And with that, I bid you adieu. Don't forget riverspromise.org. Don't forget homeswithsherry.com. Make a donation. I appreciate all of you chipping in. And again, $25 for a pair of shoes. Jim says, happy birthday, as my friends used to sing. Hippo birdie to Eve, to you. Hippo birdie to, okay, I get it. I think. I don't know what that is. That's ready. All right. Thank you. I appreciate it, Jim. Thank you very much. Riverspromise.org, riverspromise.com. When I come back on Monday, I'd like to be able to give you a big-time tale of how much you have been in your generosity and how many pairs of shoes we're going to buy for the kids. Can we do that? Can we? Maybe we could get 100 pairs of shoes. That's $2,500, I think. Is that right? $2,500. If we could raise $2,500 between you and me by Monday, if everybody that watches this show chips in, everybody hears it, thousands of earballs, we could probably triple or double that at least, or quadruple that. But let's go for $2,500. I'd like to report that. Some of you could do that all by yourself. Some of you just $25. Some of you do half a pair of shoes and have somebody else do the other half. I don't care how we get there. But if we could by Monday have raised 100 pair of shoes just on the Lakey Unleashed Streamcast podcast, I would appreciate it. Riverspromise.com, riverspromise.org. Some of you get paid the 15th. I know that's coming up. Riverspromise.com, riverspromise.org. Again, $25 pair of shoes. That's kind of our goal. We'll distribute that money for school fees, etc. But that's really kind of a target, a tangible to ask, is that if we could maybe 100 pairs of shoes, I think that'd be good. I'm good for a couple of pairs of shoes. You're good for a couple of pairs of shoes. Everybody, go to the website, make a donation, and help us buy those shoes. Rachel says, happy birthday, Jimmy. Thank you, Rachel Carlson. She's a great friend of Rivers Promise and always has been, and we appreciate Rachel out there. Help us out, everybody. Let's shoot for 100 pairs of shoes by Monday. I don't think that's too big of a goal. Maybe I'll be embarrassed I said it so high. Don't do it. Riverspromise.org. 2 weeks from today, I'm flying to Rwanda, and I'll take all the gifts that you send financially over there, and I'll oversee them. I appreciate all of you. We're going to take the next 2 days off. Don't fret. Don't pout. Behave yourself. Don't get into any trouble. Mention to some of the people in the chat room out there, they're trouble. You hang out with obnoxious Scott up in Wyoming too long, you're going to get in trouble. So everybody, make wise choices while I'm gone. Make wise choices. I'll see you back Monday morning. Riverspromise.com, riverspromise.org. May God bless you. May God bless America. I am Jimmy Lakey. Peace. I'm out of here.